welcome to this podcast. My name is Sylla Aissata. I am a lawyer and arbitrator by profession, and today I am hosting a very interesting gentleman who is going to introduce himself.
My name is Cyrus Titus Aomu. I am a civil engineer. I have over 2 decades of experience. I run a construction law practice called Cat and Ash Limited, where we provide contracts and claims advisory in the infrastructure sector and dispute resolution services.
Today we're going to talk about designing for dialogue. Specifically, we're going to talk about structural dispute board to deliver project stability. Titus.
Yes, please.
What industry of the economy are we talking about?
We are talking about the construction industry.
Very good. And why did you pick an interest in this industry?
Well, I fell in love with built environment when I was in high school. This was about over 25 years ago.
Yes.
I spent over 15 years in public office and about a year and a half working in the private sector with contractors.
Contractors being building?
Yeah, building contractors.
Yes.
At one point in my professional career, I was managing infrastructure projects for a public parastatal in Uganda.
Yes.
What then happened is I decided that I needed to branch into a niche in the construction sector. And for me, that niche crystallized when I interacted with a dispute board 15 years ago. And then I decided I needed to go into this niche because, you see, at 60 years old, when you're in a public office, eventually it's time to leave.
Yes, very true.
And then most people will tell you they are going farming and doing all sorts of things. And I decided I would still want to practice beyond 60 years of age.
Yes.
And so I decided that I then get into this practice, which would then allow me to work beyond 60 to 70 to 80. And then it would be a personal decision to stop working.
Yes.
And not a computer which has told me because I'm 60 years old, I have to go back home. That's why I got into this field.
I like your attitude, especially about when to retire and how long you're going to live.
Yes.
That's the way to go. So when I think of construction, I think about buildings.
Yes.
Is that all there is about construction?
Infrastructure is a very broad industry, very broad discipline. Now, locally in Uganda, where I'm from, we are talking about roads and their interconnecting bridges.
Yes.
We are talking about power lines.
Yes.
We're talking about the substations that feed the power lines. Sometimes we're talking about buildings, yes, but then with buildings, we have high-end mixed-use development buildings. We have small domestic property. The side I'm very familiar with, water, treatment, supply, and sewage systems.
Oh.
Yeah, it's also an area that is part of construction now. Abroad, we are then looking at tunnels,
yes,
undersea, overland. We're looking at developments like oil rigs, right in the middle of a sea, and many, many, many other aspects of work. So construction is a very broad industry. Lately, in Uganda, we have the oil industry.
Yes.
So we are drilling in the earth to get oil. This is a construction that we had never experienced in Uganda before. So this is the industry that where we plow.
Very interesting. So for a construction project, what are some of the most important considerations? Assuming I want to construct, whether it's a road or a mixed-use development property or a power line, what are some of the things that cut across board that I should be looking out for?
If you're a wealthy businessman or a wealthy individual and you want to build, let's say a mixed-use development, you have this nice plot, nice corner plot in the center of town.
Yes.
You want a quality product.
Yes.
You also want it done within a certain time. Maybe you have people who are already willing to rent it.
True.
And you want it done within a certain timeline. So there's a triangle that we normally look at. And this happens with wealthy businessmen, or it happens with small domestic dwellers, or it happens with public entities that are going to build roads and railways, or do oil infrastructure, do refineries.
Yes.
Everyone is looking at this triangle. So you have the quality, the cost on this side, and the time on this side.
Okay.
And those are the considerations that cut across any infrastructure that you're building. Of course, there is an aspect of risk, but risk oscillates in between, amongst those three elements.
As it always happens with human beings, when different people are interacting with each other on anything, there will always be some kind of friction. And sometimes we call that friction disputes. In the construction industry, what are some examples of disputes that could happen?
There are quite a number of disputes that can happen on, and again, this is not to say that the disputes only happen on a government project or private project. Examples I'm going to give you are disputes that happen and occur on any infrastructure project. Normally, there are issues to do with delays occasioned by, for instance, a contractor not having received the site where you're supposed to be building on time. Then there could be issues to do with a design which was done in a rush, and therefore the design is inappropriate, and maybe it's picked up by the contractor. Sometimes a design is done by the contractor and the employer says, look, your design is not adequate. The contractor says the design is adequate. Sometimes you are dealing with exceptional events. What you and I can relate with is COVID-19, but then exceptional events could extend to wars like Russia, Ukraine, because what these events do is they affect the importation of goods that would then be used as inputs for the work.
Yes.
And of course, then there could be delays. Now, the issue would be, is it a valid event for a contractor to rely on to have entitlement, maybe time? There could be disagreements on this front. Sometimes it's a matter of contract interpretation. So you find the contractor is interpreting his contract differently. The employer is interpreting the same contract differently, and the parties just don't agree.
Okay.
And there are numerous ones, but that's what comes to mind at the moment. Yes.
So when you talk about an employer,
Yes.
what does that mean in this industry?
An employer is that party that provides the funding for that infrastructure to be built.
Okay.
Of course, the employer could have gone and borrowed the money,
Yes.
but he's still the one that is going to pay the contractor.
Okay.
Now, I'm assuming you know the contractor. The contractor is the one who builds.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So those are the two most important parties that when it comes to building infrastructure. You have the employer and the contractor.
Okay. That's interesting to get to know this terminology. Now, again, from time to time,
Yes.
I hear about dispute boards. And imagine I am a 9-year-old. What is a dispute board?
Now, I will attempt to explain this to those that are not 9-year-olds, then simplify it for a 9-year-old.
Okay, let's take it from 9 to 12.
Okay.
I think a 12-year-old is
A
less
12-year-old,
complicated.
yes. They are getting a bit big-headed, so they understand quite a number of things. But anyway, dispute boards are third parties. Now, these third parties are normally engaged by an employer and a contractor on a project,
Yes.
sometimes right from the beginning to the end, and sometimes when needed,
Okay.
ad hoc. But for a 9-year-old, I would say, if you can recall a time when mom or dad came home with a packet of chocolates and they have not quite said how the sharing should be done.
Yes.
And then these are two children.
Yes.
Maybe one is older than the other.
True.
The older one opens the packet of chocolates and they start flexing on the sharing of the chocolate. Now, the young one, noticing that he is maybe not as strong or as dominant, runs to the third party, who is the mother
Yes.
or the father, who then descends on the matter and is able to say, okay, fine, have this portion and you have this portion, and the matter is resolved.
Yes.
Okay.
Or simply gives a look.
Yeah, or simply or simply says, what are you doing? And quickly there is a truce and the chocolate is shared.
Yes.
What happens on a typical construction project is that because definitely you have adults, you still have this third party that is able to give informal advice on a matter that's potentially going to become a dispute,
Yes.
or giving a decision on a dispute that has been brought to the board for decision.
I think as a 12-year-old, I understand that.
With the chocolate scenario.
Yes, the chocolate and the mother. Yes. That is very relatable.
Okay.
All right. Now, are there different kinds of dispute boards, or is what I'm really asking, are they all called the same name, just a dispute board? Are there different names for them? What happens there? I mean, for example, in the legal world, we'll have a chief magistrate's court. Maybe we have a local council court. Maybe we have a high court. Do you have those stratas within that organization of dispute boards or not?
When it comes to boards, there is no strata. What we have are 3 types of boards. The first type is what is called the dispute review board. Dispute review boards, they typically will give non-binding recommendations. Now, the employer and the contractor, on receiving this non-binding recommendation,
Yes.
would go and digest it, think about it, and implement sometimes. Then what happens is, depending on the terms of reference of this dispute review board, at times they give decisions.
What is a term of reference?
The term of reference it's basically a document that states you are engaged to undertake this assignment, and this is what you can do. These are your boundaries.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
You can do this, but you cannot do something outside
Okay.
of this document. So sometimes the dispute review boards are engaged to give decisions. Now we have dispute adjudication boards.
Okay.
This is the second type of board. This dispute adjudication board has been in existence for quite a while now. The board there it gives informal opinions. So the informal opinion is the parties, the employer and the contractor, could come to the board and say, we have this issue and we're not quite in agreement. Okay, we all have our conflicting opinions.
Yes.
And we want you to give us third-party opinion. So
when we say informal,
Yeah.
does it mean, for example, it's not in writing, or could it be in writing, but you're not officially declaring a dispute? What does it mean to be informal?
An informal opinion is informal because it's not necessarily binding on the parties.
Okay.
It is just what I think about your matter. I have not taken evidence.
Okay.
We have not had a standard hearing. I have not heard the matter.
Yes.
Okay. But in a couple of days, I write something
Okay.
and give you an opinion. Now, informal opinions can be oral, but they can also be written.
Okay.
Some parties will tell you, give us an oral opinion. Some parties will tell you, give us a written opinion.
Okay.
So, back to the boards.
Yes.
So the district dispute adjudication boards also give decisions.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, there is a third board, okay, which is a terminology which was introduced a little recently called the Dispute Avoidance and Adjudication Board.
Okay.
Now, the role that this board plays is a bit similar to the Dispute Adjudication Board, only that in the Dispute Avoidance and Adjudication Board, the avoidance function has been brought to the forefront.
What would the avoidance function be?
The avoidance function, you see, under the old setup,
Yes.
the Dispute Adjudication Board setup, at times, the parties would only engage the board on an ad hoc basis. Ad
hoc meaning?
Ad hoc means the board was only engaged when there was a matter that required them.
Okay.
Under the avoidance function, okay?
Yes.
Which is under the Dispute Avoidance and Adjudication Board, okay?
Yes.
It is recommended that the board is engaged from the onset of the, let's say, soon after the construction contract has been signed.
Okay.
So the board then works with the parties, attends site meetings, reads monthly progress reports, and is quickly aware of the potential for there to be a dispute.
Okay. Oh,
Okay.
that's interesting.
Yeah. So that the parties do not only have to get the services of a board when a matter has come up, but the board is present with the parties from the beginning and until the end. Now, in the dispute avoidance and adjudication board, they also issue informal advice, which is the same as informal opinion, and they also issue decisions.
So they do both, in other words.
Yeah, they do both, but the avoidance function is at the forefront under the third type of board.
So we talked about dispute review boards, and then we talked about dispute adjudication boards.
Yes.
The way I understand it is that let me call it the DRB, and then the DAB.
Yes.
Those boards, really, more or less, the dispute has occurred, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And so for this new creation, the dispute avoidance and adjudication board, actually what they're doing is they're like firefighting.
Yes. Firefighting, maybe not.
Fire preventing then?
Preventing the fire, yes.
Yes, okay. Because they can see where there'll be some kind of issue, and then they come in and say, we see an issue here.
Yes.
Let's resolve it now, right? That's what they do.
Yes, that's what they do.
Let's prevent it.
Actually, what they would do is they would say, Mr. Employer and contractor, please address yourselves to this issue.
Okay. Because
of this and this and that. They may not necessarily say this is going to eventually turn out to be a dispute, but they will alert the parties to the fact that there's something here.
Okay.
And one of my bosses used to tell me when I was still in public office that avoid keeping a hot potato under your armpits.
Yes.
Because it burns eventually.
Yes.
So what these guys do is they will tell you that, look, there's something here.
Yes.
Take note. And the board keeps observing and keeps informing the parties, asking, have you resolved this?
Yes.
When are you resolving this? You said next week, have you resolved it? Give me the report. Something like that.
Okay. It's like when I go to my doctor and the doctor says, you're doing well, but could you watch the sugar, right? Something like that.
Because you can get diabetes or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just to bring it home.
Yeah.
Could you give us an example, a real life example of any one of these boards that you have had experience with?
This is an interesting question because I could do one of two things.
Yes.
Give you an example of a past board whose existence has been extinguished because the project concluded. I could then give you another example on a live...
How about you give us both? I mean, of course, on a no-names basis, and as much anonymity as you can, but just to give us, what's the dispute about and perhaps what the board did.
In mid-2015, I was working in a parastatal in Uganda, and we secured some money from the World Bank. It was a portfolio that was funding 3 projects. On one of these projects, we were building a system.
Yes.
And this system it's a public service for the dwellers.
Yes.
And we engaged a dispute adjudication board, the DAB.
Yes.
On this project. This board comprised 3 men who were an average age of 69.
Okay.
At that time, I was 35. So this board had 34 years on me. And we signed their agreements about, let's say 4 months after the construction works commenced.
Okay.
Now, in the course of execution of this project, there were some delays. These delays impacted the contractor's schedule or program. And these delays, the contractor stated at that time that he was delayed by 396 days.
Oh.
Now, this is just over a year. It's quite a long time because the construction contract was 1.5 years. So the contractor put in a claim to the engineer.
Yes.
Now, the engineer is somebody that the employer hires to supervise the contractor.
Okay.
So the contractor put in a claim for an additional 12 months.
Okay.
And the related costs for staying on site for these 12 months.
Okay, and probably increase the price?
Inevitably, the price was going to go up.
Yes.
I think from what I've told you, you would have realized I was on the employer's side.
Yes.
So what happened is the claim moves from the contractor
Yes.
to the employer
Okay.
via the engineer, and the engineer rejects the claim on a technicality.
And the engineer is hired.
The engineer is hired by the employer.
As well. Okay.
So the engineer rejects the claim on a technicality.
Yes.
And the technicality was that the contractor had no entitlement for the 12 months and the related cost because he did not submit the claim within a specified period. The contractor was unhappy with the engineer's rejection.
Yes.
What we did is we triggered the provision to request an informal opinion. We drafted it and made a joint request. The parties make a joint request for this informal opinion to the board.
Okay.
We made a joint request to the board.
Can it be, does it always have to be?
It has to be joint.
What if the other person doesn't want to do it?
Well, you have to agree. Both of you have to agree.
Okay.
It's the way it is.
All right.
So the board gave an informal opinion and was leaning towards the contractor. It eventually morphed into a full-blown dispute, and the contractor submitted a formal referral to the dispute board.
Okay.
Fast forward, but before that, we then had a hearing with the dispute board, and we received the decision around March 2019.
Yes. And this board, had it been ad hoc or
full-time?
Standby?
It was full-time.
Okay.
So they were watching keenly what was happening.
Okay.
Okay. The summary of the board's defeat of the employer's position was that the employer was relying on an exclusion clause in the contract to excuse themselves of breach on their part. And legally, if you are relying on an exclusion clause, the interpretation of that exclusion clause has got to be done very, very, very strictly and normally against the person who relies on that clause.
Okay.
So it turned out that we had misinterpreted that exclusion clause. The board decided that the contractor had entitlement to the tune of $3.5 million in terms of cost and the 12 months as well.
Okay.
The contractor received. Hadn't we had that board, probably it would have gotten worse. Sylla, this was a very interesting experience for me.
Yes.
One, because the contractor was able to get the entitlement. We agreed to it as an employer, and they were eventually paid.
And did the project go on?
Yeah, the project went on.
With the same contractor?
With the same contractor. The contractor got their 12 months. Eventually, he was paid.
Yes.
A little late, though.
Yes.
But he was paid, and we moved on.
If there hadn't been a dispute board in this particular dispute, they would probably have gone to court. What would have happened then to the project, perhaps?
You are asking me to speculate
Yes, actually,
on how nasty the situation could have gotten.
Let's speculate a little bit.
It would have gotten bad because the engineer was hell-bent on the fact that the contractor's claim was time-barred.
Okay. Yes.
And he was not about to change his position. So we would have kept moving back and forth with each other, and probably the work would have stalled. And then the funders would have gotten concerned about the matter. And these World Bank funded projects have got windows. And sometimes when you exceed that window, the funding goes back. So we would have lost the funding for that project.
Because at this point that the dispute was happening, the project was not going on because the contractor was not working.
No, actually he was.
He was.
He was because he knew there was a third party on the project who would then give a decision. In whichever party's favor, but there was a third party. So
if the third party had not been there, in your experience, if there is no dispute board, who's the third party, would the contractor have kept on working?
Without a dispute board, sometimes you're on a slippery slope. Both parties.
Yes.
And slippery slopes are slippery slopes.
Yes.
Have you played on any when you were young?
Yes,
You
of
can
course.
move endlessly.
Those are the joy.
So it can get nasty.
Yes.
And sometimes there's no end to it.
Yes.
And then you find the contractor, the parties terminate the contract. Then you have to get another contractor. It takes another 3 years. The funder takes his money away.
Okay.
I mean, it reinforces my belief that boards are an insurance policy. And that it's worth it to have them. In the second scenario,
Yes.
this is a live scenario. And it's live, but not to the extent that a decision has been issued. But I just want to give you the realities around the advantages of prevention and the avoidance function.
Yes.
So I am engaged as a sole dispute avoidance and adjudication board member on a project.
Yes.
This project is somewhere in the sub-Sahara. I was engaged 3 months after the construction work commenced.
Okay.
The project is now 7 months into the construction period. Construction period is 24 months. I have attended about 3 visits to the site,
Yes.
moved around with the parties, spoken to them, discussed what challenges they have, alerted them to the fact that there are some issues you can resolve. This could potentially cause you a dispute. But in one meeting with the parties, the contractor mentioned that he would be entitled to about 100 or 200 days additional beyond the 24 months.
Okay.
So we are talking about maybe 4, 5, 6 months of construction
Now
additional.
this is getting interesting.
Now the contractor is stating that there are some events which have caused a delay to the project. Fortunately, because I have been on this project
3 months after.
reasonably 3 months after, I know what the contractor is talking about.
Yes.
I have also heard from the employer.
Yes.
I know the employer's opinion about that matter. So in one of our meetings, I asked some leading questions
Yes.
into the contractor's entitlement. One of the questions I asked, the contractor must have gone back and realized that, look, I have to substantiate my entitlement.
Mm-hmm.
And it was simply because of the question I asked.
Yes.
Okay?
Okay.
What has happened now is that the contractor has submitted a formal claim, reasonably well substantiated, to the engineer on this project. And he has claimed for this entitlement, money and time, and he has given these reasons. Weather has delayed him. There's been some third-party interference. Third party meaning a party external to the contract. And there have been some variations on the site. There has been an increase in quantities,
Yes.
which the contractor states necessitates him to time.
Okay.
Now, I am waiting for the engineer to make a response to that claim. Now, the engineer goes through a process called determination. Now, the engineer may outrightly reject it. The engineer may find some merit in all the claim heads or some of them, and he will respond to the contractor. I'm seeing all this.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Now, the contractor then will come back and say, but engineer, look, I think I disagree with this, and that. And they may end up in dialogue.
Okay.
If at some point they can agree, then they have agreed. If at some point they want and seek informal advice, I can provide the informal advice. And this can be oral, this can be written. And now what that advice will do is it will give them pointers on the merits of each claim head.
Yes.
And then they will go back, think about it, and then again, they may resolve the matter. Okay. If they fail to resolve the matter at that point, then they can come back with a formal referral, and then I can give a decision.
Are you allowed, if they came in for a formal decision, to actually change your mind, to have a different position from the initial informal decision that you gave?
Yes.
Okay.
The informal advice is as informal as it is.
Okay.
But some of them, if well written,
yes.
Okay, they really, really, really help parties resolve the matter. Informal is informal. If I give a decision later on, I can actually reverse maybe a certain thought I had on a certain specific claim head.
Thank you. That has been very interesting. What experience and expertise do members of a dispute board typically have?
So you recall in the first scenario, these gentlemen had 34 years on me.
Yes, yes.
These men were retired. 2 of them were retired.
Yes.
And 1 of them was in his mid-50s.
Yes.
Okay? That tells you these guys have probably worked for over 20 years.
True.
Of course, they all had base degrees. You need to have field experience. You need to have worked, been in the trenches, interacted with contractors, either on a site or in-house with an employer, or in-house with a contractor, or via council, okay, dealing with construction cases. Then, so you have that wealth of experience. You have the basic education, which can be anything, by the way. It can be a basic degree, it can be a mechanical engineering degree, it can be a civil engineering degree, you can be an architect.
Does it have to be a degree related to the built environment?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're right there, Sylla. It's related to built environment. And then, so you have this experience that you gather over, I call it the experience of, and in the school of hard knocks.
Yes.
Okay. By then you are probably my age, middle age, like you and I.
Yes.
What now happens lately is that you need to have a law degree, a basic legal qualification. Okay.
Okay.
What this legal qualification does for you is it grounds you in matters of contract.
Yes.
The law of obligations. You then learn how to write decisions, arbitrations. You learn construction law principles and how to deal with evidence. And it's a host of things.
Okay.
If you have your basic degree in built environment and this experience you've earned from the school of hard knocks, then you have the law degree. By then you're perhaps 50 or 60 or whatever it is. You then have the platform and the confidence. First you have the confidence, okay? But then you're on a platform where if a client has a $100 million contract, there is no doubt that by looking at your CV, they will say, okay, fine, we can consider this.
And you can understand the technical language.
Yeah, but you can also understand the intricacies on the site. You need a nexus of all those.
Okay.
Yeah. I can honestly tell you, 10 years ago, I don't think I was ready. I don't think I was ready.
But you thought you were ready at the time.
No, I didn't think I was ready. I was not.
Oh, that's very humble.
Yeah, it's because, you see, once you live this process, once you see these guys do their stuff, okay, then you read an informal opinion. Then you read a decision. You realize, okay, there is daylight between what these people can do and what you can do at that point. Yeah, but it's all learning. We all learn. Okay. But to get back to your specific answer, those are the credentials that you need to be able to have the confidence, one as an individual, and to be accepted by the market to practice in this line.
Are dispute boards required by law?
Dispute boards they're a creature of the contract.
Okay.
What that means is that employers and contractors, and the people who give employers and contractors advice, package contracts the way the employers and the contractors want them. So some contracts do not have the dispute board mechanism. Some contracts have the dispute board mechanism. Of course, then those that don't enjoy the benefits. Those that have this board enjoy the benefits. So it's not required by law.
And which makes me think then that if it's not a requirement by law, why should I have one?
I know they are not required by law. It may be that there are some jurisdictions in the world which are getting to the point where they want to institutionalize them in their construction contracts, but I don't think yet. Dispute boards, like I said earlier, I consider them an insurance policy. Many of us are familiar with insurance when it comes to motor vehicles or policies for education and things like that, where you give an insurance company a premium, and in case you suffer loss on your house or your car or whatever asset you have, they give you some money to start you off to recover the asset. Or if you are paying them a premium to then give you some money at the end of 10 years, this is also an alternative. Now, on construction contracts have colossal sums of money involved. You're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars. In the Gulf, projects are built and these projects are worth billions of dollars. $1.5 billion. Now, away from the Gulf, we could move down to Australia, where contracts, the large contracts of 800 million or whatever it is, Japan, wherever, Caribbean, anywhere it is. The cost of engaging a dispute board, if it's one member for a duration of 2 years, maybe you're spending for the whole duration, maybe $50,000 for one member. If it's 3 members, maybe you're spending high-end, let's say $200,000, $250,000.
Yeah.
So get that $250,000 for a 3-member board and ask yourself, what is the fraction of a $1 billion project? You then begin to see that the $250,000, which would be the cost for that board,
Yes.
is literally an insurance policy.
Yes.
Because what can happen is, in the course of executing that $1 billion contract,
Yes.
there could be disputes to the tune of $200 million. To that tune.
Yes.
Okay? Or even less, or even more. Now, if you have this vessel, this mechanism that is going to give you informal advice
Yes.
or decisions, and you can resolve your matters without them escalating, I think that it's
And your
worthwhile.
project is still
The project is still ongoing.
going on.
Okay?
Yes.
I think it's a worthwhile investment for those that are still in doubt
Yes.
whether these boards actually work. Of course, now, you would have gone to you may have gone to an insurance company to insure your car, and the car never crashes.
True.
Then you are saying, why have I paid this premium?
Yes.
You never know when the car crashes.
Yes.
Yeah?
Very
So
true.
you never know when you can get into a dispute on a $1 billion contract. So it's
And
there.
it is likely to occur.
Yeah, it's potential. I mean, these contracts are so big, and the number of individuals involved are so many, the egos, okay? Yeah, because, disputes are created by individuals.
Yes.
Nobody else. So it's a very good thing to have. On the basis that I consider it an insurance policy, I think it's worth it, even if a dispute doesn't occur. But I just wanted to say something. With the avoidance function, I was telling the parties on this project where I'm engaged as a sole DAB member that if you get into a dispute, a full-blown dispute, then I will not have done my job.
Uh-huh.
So what I was telling them is the avoidance function is there for you to use. And that when you have to come for an outright decision, I was telling them, then maybe, perhaps I haven't done my job well. But also, it's cheaper. The avoidance function is cheaper. The decisions are a bit costly because you're doing hearings and then you have to write a decision and things like that.
I think to put it to scenarios that all of us understand, I think we are all told to go to a doctor every other year,
keep checking.
Yes, to
the
keep
BP
checking
and
how
sugar
things
levels.
are going. Exactly. Check your teeth and all of this. And I think definitely the cost of doing an annual review compared to, say, treating a full-blown medical condition is really, really very different.
There you have it.
And I think I understand it that way. Are there limitations on the size of a construction project that can have a dispute board?
Yeah, so the thing is, I am familiar with the market approach to use one dispute board member when the value of the contract is under $50 million. I'm also familiar with a 3-member board being used if the value of the project exceeds $50 million. However, there are $100 million projects which have used a single-member board. There are projects which are less than $50 million that have used a 3-member board.
Okay.
There are discussions in the market to have a 5-member board. One of the reasons is, especially for these colossal projects, $1 billion and so forth, when you have World Cup stadiums being built and things like that, and you have maybe 8 benefiting cities, in different jurisdictions, there are discussions to have 5 members, so a board of 5 members. So you have 1, 3, 5. Like that?
When you have 5 people sitting, when you have to get 5 people together, doesn't it take longer?
No, I don't think it does. But I think parties normally assess, it's a balance between risk and what you're willing to pay for the premium. So you decide, if you have, Sylla, you have $50 million today, and like I said, you have this nice corner plot of yours in downtown Kampala, and you want to build. So then you ask yourself, okay, I like this mechanism. What? To manage risk.
Yes.
But well knowing I have a cash flow constraint, what should I do?
Okay.
Maybe I get 1 member.
Yes.
Okay, but I look for a member that has all the attributes.
Yes.
Okay, and is quite balanced, and engage the member. Well, it's still an expensive project, but you're using 1 member.
Yes.
So it depends. And parties are at liberty. There are no strict rules on 1 or 3 or 5 like is currently in discussion.
Okay.
But it's open.
Okay. And so when dispute boards are created by the contract, because you said it's a creature of contract,
Yeah.
What rules will apply? What rules will they use?
Normally, the parties agree to use certain forms of contracts. I am familiar with the FIDIC forms of contract.
What is FIDIC?
FIDIC is the International Federation of Consulting Engineers. They have developed numerous forms of contracts
Yes.
for construction of an array of project types across the world. And it's an international recognized form of contract. And some parties adopt that form of contract.
Okay.
And some other parties, we have contracts in the country where I come from. And the Europe, UK, there are NEC contracts, the JCT contracts, ICE contracts. The Gulf has their own contracts. Again,
Okay.
Australia, the Caribbean, Asia, everyone has their own forms of contracts.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay. If I am to design a dispute board,
Yes.
right? Apart from the qualifications, but what else can I think about?
Okay. This I have seen from setting up a board myself, and I've also seen from other people who have set up boards. There's only so much that you can extract from a CV.
Okay.
Because typically when you are trying to get to set up a board, maybe 1 member or 3 member or 5 in future,
Yes.
you're asking for somebody's CV. Now, beyond the CV, you can call somebody and we have a chat, some kind of interview. However, beyond the CV and beyond the interview, there is due diligence. Due
Okay.
diligence is very, very important.
Due diligence
Yes.
of the
people that you are considering to constitute the board. So due diligence, what are you really finding out? You're finding out, how does this person actually work? Do they keep time? Do they give the decisions on time? Are they biased? Do they take sides? A confidant of mine told me that one time he was on a 3-member board and a decision was before them. And the chairman asked 2 of them that, who is paying our invoices? So what the chairman was insinuating was that they should write the decision in favor of the party that was paying the invoices. Well, my confidant told me this later on because he eventually resigned from that board because he didn't agree with the conduct of the chair and trying to bias a decision towards the party that was paying. So you are doing a due diligence investigation above and beyond the CV and the physical interview that you may have. And you ask, if this guy has worked in Ethiopia, you call the entity there and say, Minister of Public Works, how is this gentleman? Or you can call the Caribbean and say, this gentleman worked here, we've seen his CV, how did he work?
Yes.
He said he actually worked here, did he finish?
Yes.
Okay? He's charging us his fees now, fees. He's charging us his fees. Huh? Did you pay them?
Yes.
Because we are trying to negotiate fees this side.
Okay. Because
So that's what you do.
in the contract, would you have fees as well?
No. Normally the contract, you will not have fees because one, you will rarely know which party you're going to get until the point of contracting.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And the contract is normally signed.
Okay.
Then you get the board after the contract is
But
signed.
you would have the qualifications and
You would have all that.
in the contract.
Yes.
Okay.
Sometimes you have a list of members in there.
Okay.
Yeah. And of course, you then do the potential costs.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I remember you mentioned earlier when we were talking about the fact that the boundaries of the board are also stated in the contract, right? That's creating the board.
Yes. Normally there are procedure rules
Okay.
for the board,
Yes.
but there are also general conditions
Okay.
for the board practice.
Ah.
But also those general conditions include the party obligations
Okay.
and not just the obligations for the board.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay. And what an example of a party obligation?
A party obligation, for instance, would be if the board asks the parties to submit certain documents, they should provide the information. Okay. Sometimes you're contracted and the parties are unwilling to give you documents.
Yes.
But we are used to this. It's a case of building trust.
Okay.
So when you get on these assignments, it's your duty to build trust with the parties.
All right.
Because they may not have worked with you before.
Okay.
And they may not have done the due diligence I was talking about.
Okay.
So they are cagey.
All right.
Eventually, 6 months down the road, 1 year down the road, they open up.
Okay.
And they are giving you all sorts of things.
Okay.
Some you begin saying it's too much. Yeah, but that's it. Yeah.
Okay. Now, what if I'm an ordinary person who is the owner of the project or the employer, as the technical term is, and I'm sitting there and thinking, all these people are engineers, they're lawyers, I'm not an engineer, I'm not a lawyer, I'm a business person. What are the chances that they will all side against me?
Please repeat the question.
So if I am the owner
Yes.
or employer,
Yes.
and I'm looking at it and thinking, on this dispute board, I am employing all these engineers, these lawyers, to decide a dispute.
Yes.
I might have a dispute with my contractor, who's an engineer, my engineer.
Okay, I get you.
And they all go back in the evening, sit together in this club or in some association. And I'm thinking, perhaps they could decide all disputes against me because they're buddies. What would you say to somebody who has that fear?
So the thing is, we are trained to, before we get into the dispute board arena,
Yes.
or the ADR arena, we leave our greed outside the door and selfishness and all these things, okay? The moment we get into the dispute board arena, okay, that is outside. I could have had a drink with you last night or whatever it is, or I had a drink with you 5 years ago.
Yes.
Okay? When I come into this space, okay, we are trained to respect both parties, be respectful and you know, things like bias and conflict of interest, you know, we need to disclose and to be as open as possible and not to take sides.
Okay.
Because when the parties notice that you are taking sides or you can potentially take a side, they withdraw.
Okay.
Yeah. Or because they have a right to do so under the general conditions of the dispute board practice, they can ask you to resign.
Okay.
For whatever reason.
Okay.
They can ask you to resign. So a party has an option to trigger the resign option, to ask a party to resign. But by and large, I'm assuming a party has done their due diligence. But
Yes.
if they haven't, they should trust the board member they have engaged, give them time,
Yes.
and then notice whether the guy is actually up to the task, and then decide either to continue or not. But I don't think that parties should be so worried that a party is going to lean against them all the time.
Okay.
We are not doing that in practice. We are there to deliver justice, and whoever has entitlement, we say so. Whoever doesn't have entitlement, we say so, but with reasons.
And earlier you mentioned that the DRB, the Dispute Review Board, can make a decision, and then the parties will decide whether or not to follow it.
Yeah.
What happens if they do not follow that decision? What happens after that?
Is this question in relation to the Dispute Review Board only, or?
Actually, I think all the boards.
Okay.
So let's say the final decision has been made, because we said if you have an informal decision, they may agree, disagree, and then come back for a more formal decision. So whichever board it is,
Yes.
let's say that they've disagreed.
Okay.
Is the decision, first of all, the last formal decision, is it binding?
Okay.
And if it's not binding, then what happens after that?
In whatever contract it is that the parties have agreed to, there is normally a dispute resolution clause
Yes.
in these contracts.
Yes.
A well-written dispute resolution clause has got a tier, a kind of hierarchy. So at the very base of it, you have certain mechanisms, which are not necessarily boards.
Yes.
Okay? Now, normally, those are inserted in the dispute resolution clause. Maybe it's, let's say, if we have a disagreement on a matter, we shall sit down and negotiate. If we fail to we shall have a high-level meeting and negotiate. That could be the first tier. If we have a matter and we are not agreeing, we can mediate. Maybe that's the second tier. The third tier could be the dispute boards. The next tier normally is arbitration. So it depends on how parties have drafted these contracts. And normally it's advisable to use all these mechanisms. I want to specifically discuss what happens when, in the case of a dispute review board,
All right.
they have given a recommendation and the parties do not implement the recommendation.
Okay.
Now, again, in that contract, it needs to state what happens if the parties do not agree on the recommendation. It should state what's the next course of action. Then, under the dispute avoidance or adjudication boards, if a decision is issued, normally a party has a certain time period within which to respond and say, look, I don't quite like the decision which this board has made. I don't quite like it.
Okay.
But they have a certain window.
Oh,
okay.
All right.
Now, in that window, the decision is temporarily binding. The board has given a decision, but it's temporarily binding within that window. Now, when that window elapses, and neither party has said, I don't like this decision, that decision then becomes binding.
Okay.
On the parties.
So in other words, when you say temporarily binding, it means
until that window elapses.
We don't have to do anything to implement during that time?
No. Actually, the way the conditions of contract are drafted, again, depending on which form of contract you're reading,
yes.
But I will go with the FIDIC forms of contract.
Yes.
What the FIDIC forms of contract actually say is, when a decision is given, even if you don't like it, pay or award the time. And the understanding is you can always get it at a later, or in a later tier, or you can get it at the next stage of the dispute resolution process.
Okay.
But what I just wanted to stress is, when a board gives a decision, if that window elapses,
yes.
that window where a party can say, I don't like it, let's move to the next stage.
Yes.
Okay? The decision then becomes binding.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So a contractor can take the decision and say, look, just give me my money. Or the employer can take the decision to the contractor and say, pay me this and something.
Let's talk a bit about people who want to go into this career, whether to join the industry or to look like you did, perhaps to think of a retirement plan for yourself.
Let's see. Let's wait and see. Yeah.
So beyond getting the educational qualifications and the experience, what can one do to be considered as a member of a board? Is there anything else?
I want to share a bit about my story.
Okay.
And then perhaps the answer will originate from that.
Yes.
So when I had this experience in 2015,
yes,
I decided there and then that I'm going to do this.
Okay.
But I told you then, after reading the decision they had written, I realized that there's just no way
Yes.
I'm going to get there in the next 10 years
Yes.
easily. So I took a decision to work a bit longer in that part of the sector where I was.
In the trenches.
Yes, but also work with other boards. Because besides that board, we set up 2 others.
Yes.
And then there were others that were set up on different portfolios. Okay. And I was seeing and observing.
Yes.
Okay. Around that time, I tried to find out what qualifications these people had. So I knew I had to go back to school to study law. Mm-hmm. And then I had to find the money, because at the time I had to part with about £8,000
Yes.
to get the law degree.
Yes.
Okay. So I had to work longer, then I had to plan to study law, and then I had to have an exit plan away from my job.
Yes.
If you're not patient, if you don't have a support system around you, it can be very tough. So then I get the qualifications. Beyond the qualifications, because now you have the law degree.
Yes.
You've been in the trenches. You have the law degree.
Yes.
Okay? But people don't know you.
So was it a construction law degree specific? Or
Yeah, it
just
was a construction law degree. The Master of Science in Construction Law and Dispute Resolution.
Okay.
I did that from Leeds Beckett University.
Okay.
2 years. That's also a story of its own.
Yes.
Now, so then you have the law degree.
Yes.
And you are there, because I had to resign from my job, because I realized that there's just no way you can practice this when you are in public office, because the work is in public office.
Okay.
So you have this law degree. People don't know you. You've been in the trenches, people don't know. So now I had to get accreditations. So accreditations would mean, you are trying to get the accreditation from the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators,
Yes.
which I sought. Then I tried to get accreditation with FIDIC. FIDIC is the International Federation of Consulting Engineers.
Yes.
Then, like we were discussing earlier, I have tried to get enlisted on panels here and there. The arbitration court in Dubai. I write a lot.
Yes.
So I tend to use my writing to give me a platform. But then there's networking. Fortunately, we have CIAB Uganda
The
chapter meet and greet
Chartered Institute
every
of
year.
Arbitrators.
Yeah,
Yes.
every year.
Yes.
We have this now,
Yes.
fortunately. So the networking is important because people then put the name to the face. And you see, the funny thing about these things is they see a face, see the name, then go and say, okay, fine, let's look at this CV.
Yes.
Okay? So this guy has actually done this and that and that.
He has been in the trenches.
So he has been in the trenches.
Yes.
Now, so when you have a nexus of that,
Yes.
it helps because you may have the qualifications, you may have been in the trenches, don't know you.
Okay.
Yeah. So you have to go out there and make yourself known. That's what I would advise somebody beyond having the competence. Yeah. Okay. Networking is very important.
Some of the people that are listening to us are students who are just studying, whether they're doing studies in the built environment space or the legal space or whichever other space. And they would like to get into this industry. They would like to get more into the dispute resolution mechanism that we've been talking about. But then they're saying, I don't have 20 years of experience. When they're talking about trenches, where is my trench? What would you tell them?
When I decided in 2015 that it's a line I wanted to pursue,
yes,
and I saw the hills and valleys that I needed to navigate, I asked myself, who is it I'm going to rely on to at least give me some direction? Not so much to pay the fees for me,
yes,
but give me some direction. This year in June 2025,
yes,
actually it was May, I sent out an advert to social media platforms. And what I did was tell people that I am going to take on an intern, a construction law intern. Now, I shared this communication on 2 platforms, but 3 groups. I'll tell you. So, one platform was LinkedIn,
yes,
where I'm very active. And I indicated that I'll be taking on this construction law intern for a certain period. Then I shared the same communication on the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators, Uganda chapter, WhatsApp group. I also shared this communication on a WhatsApp group belonging to the Uganda Institute of Professional Engineers.
Yes.
So the invitation was simple. If you are a civil engineering student,
yes,
drop me an email so that I can consider you for the internship.
Yes.
Before you ask me why civil engineering, okay? I am trained as a civil engineer.
Yes.
So I understand how these students are trained.
Yes.
So it would be easy for me to take them through a construction law internship.
Yes.
That is why I specifically requested for civil engineering students. But I also narrowed it down to 3rd-year civil engineering students.
Yes.
Those who were only left with 1 year to go to the 4th year. Okay? So I sent this communication out, like I said, and I got feedback from, name it, a number of universities in Uganda. None from abroad, maybe next year.
Okay.
None from abroad. So when I assessed the feedback, without going through the process of how I got the individuals that I ended up with,
yes,
I realized I could take on 2.
Okay.
So the number went up from 1 intern to 2.
Yes.
The interns started on the 2nd of June this year. They ended their internship was 10 weeks. Now, in that 10-week period, these interns, now, they have more construction law knowledge than I had when I was 35 years old. These kids are in their mid-20s.
Yes.
They have not yet even reached their mid-20s.
Yes.
Okay? So for me, that is the best way I can give an opportunity to others in my space,
yes,
to learn the craft, or at least have an idea about the craft, so that in future they'll know that they can trigger that career path as an option.
Okay.
I didn't have that opportunity when I was 23. I didn't have that opportunity. Okay? They have had it now. Next year I'll be doing another intake of another 2 interns. Now, perhaps I will scale up in future. Okay, but scaling up would introduce other variables into the process, which then I will deal with at some point. Okay, but for me, that is my contribution to my native country as far as construction law is concerned, and specifically for civil engineers. Okay. Because people with this skill set, they are surveyors with it, they are architects with it, They are out and out lawyers with it, mechanical engineers, they are other disciplines. So it's not limited to my line of work. But like I said, I only got civil engineering interns because I know how they're educated, so I would know how to train them. Beyond that, there is opportunity to give talks and the like. But I have picked my niche areas, okay? I write and I do face-to-face training with interns.
Okay.
You will rarely find me giving a 3-hour lecture to maybe people from some local government.
Yes.
I just think that I excel better elsewhere. I can do it, but I believe that via internship and via writing and via podcasts,
yes.
Okay, I think I can deliver better.
Okay.
Yeah. So for me, that's what I can say as far as getting people trained or getting people to experience the craft, yeah, and perhaps leading them down that route.
Okay. And I think on behalf of all those people who are looking for a trench, I must say thank you. Thank you for creating the opportunity, but also thank you for showing that there's a model that can work.
Yeah.
And even if someone, 1, 2, however many, and if other people can think, oh, I can do that as well, then there's a very good cascading effect. So thank you for being willing to give back. If there are people listening to us who are having ongoing disputes or may have disputes potentially on any of their construction projects that are going on, they do not have perhaps a dispute board, or maybe they do, and they're looking for something beyond a dispute board, where can they go to resolve their disputes? And for this particular one, perhaps let's talk about where we're seated, which is Uganda.
Yes.
Where in Uganda can somebody who is having a dispute or may potentially have a dispute that they want to resolve, where can they go?
Well, I recommend the International Center for Arbitration and Mediation in Kampala.
Okay.
And that's, the acronym is ICAMEK.
Yes.
I think many people have seen ICAMEK and don't know the acronym in full.
Yes.
But ICAMEK is doing a pretty good job.
Yes.
And we share the same vision.
Yes.
The same ideas in terms of ADR,
Yes.
which is alternative dispute resolution. Some
Yes.
people call it appropriate.
Yes.
But I think we share the same dream, and I also want to thank ICAMEK for the idea of the podcasts.
Yes.
I think it's good and provides a good vessel through which people can learn about what ICAMEK is about and what it stands for.
Okay.
Yeah, so I would really recommend ICAMEK.
Okay. All right. We've had a long chat.
Yeah.
But is there anything else, perhaps, that you think we haven't talked about, that we should talk about today?
Yeah. Again, related to my line of work,
Yes.
which is dispute boards, and maybe not dispute boards, but ad hoc dispute resolution,
Yes.
matters to deal with contracts, advisory, and claims. So now fortunately, the first board that I interfaced with, many of them have gone on to be confidants.
Yes.
People I can talk to and seek counsel.
Yes.
This is a very lonely practice. It's a very lonely practice because the amount of ignorance that plagues the dispute board practice is next level.
Mm-hmm.
And because it's such a plague, it presents challenges.
Yes.
Okay? Opportunities can come to you and you present a fee for the services.
Yes.
And it's repulsed. And it's not repulsed, politely. It's thrown away.
Yes.
And the feedback is, you are so expensive.
Yes.
Okay? When you think about the trenches you've been in and what you've had to go through to get the competence and deliver justice at such a high level
Yes.
on multi-million-dollar contracts, and then your proposed fees are repulsed so vigorously,
Yes.
it's disappointing.
Yes.
Now, the other thing is, back to the loneliness. There are some times when you are discharging a matter. It could be under an informal advice arrangement, or you are supposed to issue an outright decision, or you are simply doing claims or contracts advisory. Sometimes you have no one to ask and consult.
Yes.
This is what I do. I often find myself sending emails, okay, all over the world. So I send an email because I know people all over the world. So I'm sending an email to Chester in the UK. I'm sending an email to Perth in Australia. I'm sending an email to Hong Kong in Asia.
Yes.
I'm sending an email to the Caribbean. Why? I'm trying to consult about a matter that is before me.
Yes.
I want an opinion.
Yes.
Okay? Remember, these are different time zones.
Yes.
So you're going to send an email today. You have a matter to discharge maybe in a couple of days.
Yes.
Okay? And these guys are going to take their time to respond. And when they respond, they're responding based on precedent, something they have interfaced with, interacted with in their own setting.
Yes.
Okay? It then falls to you to discern whether that advice is, you can use it. Okay? And people always sign off and say, it depends on your circumstances. So you sometimes, and I was told this by my good old friend called Peter Sanders. He's about 87 now. 87 or maybe 85. He told me this thing gets very lonely, Cyrus. Okay?
Yes.
And I can now see you're practicing because you're asking me certain kind of questions.
Yes.
So Peter normally responds and tells me, okay, this one, have you considered this? Have you considered that? So there are not so many people you can consult.
Yes.
And the thing is, you cannot really consult anybody.
True.
Okay? You need to consult somebody who is going to understand your question. For some of these questions, they are plausible to some people. They don't understand the depth. I sent a question recently on LinkedIn, and I was asking about something. It was not hypothetical. It was a real issue I was dealing with.
Yes.
People gave answers from all corners of the world.
Yes.
A native in Uganda
Yes.
was the first to respond. But then later on, a couple of days later, he sent another message and said, thank you for this question. Do you know why?
Yes.
I think now the depth, the detail in the question had sunk in. And
Overnight.
now, maybe overnight, over a couple of days, he now began to think, perhaps that, okay, now perhaps I see why this guy has asked this question.
Yes.
So these things happen,
Yes.
and sometimes it then rests on you to decide.
Yes.
Yes. So you then aggregate your legal experience and your unique circumstances. Yeah.
And that's when the trenches
Yeah.
are actually important.
Then lastly, familiarity.
Yes.
I am a Ugandan. I'm born here.
Yes.
Okay. Familiarity breeds contempt. Okay, and that for me is something that happens everywhere in the world. So I'm having to find myself look for opportunities in other markets, in the Gulf, in West Africa, in the Caribbean. We were talking about countries like Barbados
Yes.
and Jamaica.
Yes.
Now, you probably have noticed these are English speaking.
Yes.
Yeah? Yeah, so because there, the one, your fees are not going to be repulsed so much.
True.
And then you are going to be treated with some kind of respect, even though you're Ugandan. Okay? But now when people get into this practice, they need to appreciate the reality around finding work
Yes.
and what it takes to deliver okay? Pricing, how to price competitively and things, because these are challenges everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah, but finally, and something that I'd forgot to say, the volume of construction business in our country is very, very, very low.
Okay.
Okay? In certain jurisdictions, just the volume of construction business is bigger than our GDP. Mm-hmm. What that means is that the opportunities to practice are there, not here. Fortunately, the world has gone, we are using Zoom and Teams a lot.
Yes.
So most of our work we can do remotely.
Yes.
Okay, but sometimes the clients want you there physically.
Yes.
Okay, so most of the time, I don't find myself getting the opportunities that ordinarily I would if I were in a very busy environment. Okay. But they are there.
Yes.
Okay, but it's now crystal clear that I have to spread my wings across our borders to grow to the level that I want to.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So basically, I just wanted to share that with you because I felt that it's just the reality.
Yes.
And I don't think it helps if we ignore the reality or hide it.
Yes.
It would be good for people to appreciate those facts and perhaps share on their own how they are dealing with them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you,
You're
Cyrus.
welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for taking the time to spend some time with us. We hope that, like I have, you have learned something today, and that you will get some motivation to find your own space within the industry that we've been talking about. So thank you very much.